Welcome to a word of hope for Wednesday of the third week in Ordinary Time. My name is Father Brendan Curran, Dominican promoter for justice and peace for North America, joining you as we hear the words of the parable of the sower, of the parable, that story of one who sows seeds and some fall into different types of ground. And sometimes we feel like the ground that we are a part of, that makes up the stuff of our lives and our hearts, can feel like rocky ground, feel like we don't gain much traction in the roots of the fertile soil of our faith now and again in our lives. Reminds me of being at a wake service a few weeks ago for a permanent deacon, Deacon Bob Boharek. And one of those who gave testimony at that visitation service was someone who talked about him being in harm's way. You see, Deacon Bob was also a circuit court judge for years and years in the state of Illinois. And his family tells of the story of him feeling endangered one day when a man comes up to his car abruptly and signals to him to roll down the windows. Looks like a big burly man who's about to perhaps end his life. And when he rolled down the window, the man told him that, "You're Deacon Bob? Aren't you Judge Bob?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Well, I want to thank you for having saved my life." You see, this man came to Deacon Bob, and actually who was Judge Bob Boharek, who instead of sentencing him to a long sentence in prison, which he might have deserved on the surface, a repeat offender, a drug user, a person in the midst of a life of addictions, do you know what that judge said? He said to him, "I'm going to send you to drug rehabilitation." And the man who came up to his car that day came to him to say, "Thank you. Thank you for believing that my life," as we hear Jesus proclaim today, "is a life that has some fertile soil to it. Even in the midst of how we feel it may be, God is inspiring each of us. Dig deep in the depths of your hearts. Recognize that God is inspiring you and inspiring me." Thank you to that anonymous man who's a person who was named by a circuit court judge who said, "I believe you have some fertile soil in your life. Go and be free." Let that be a word of hope for you, for me, and let us plant that deeply in the soil of our hearts.